Now that we're seeing Gear 5, is there a Gear 6? Because the main question that people are asking now is that if there is only 5 gears in your standard car and Luffy's gears are based off a regular car, then there is no Gear 6, right? Like, he's basically reached his peak, and he even said in the manga that he's reached his peak here at Gear 5. So, there is a theory though. Like, imagine Luffy in Gear 5 munching on a Rumble Ball, like mad thing in it. Before we break it down, tap the like and subscribe button for more mad content, yeah? Let's get into it. So, here's a quick recap of Gear 5. It's no joke. It turns out Luffy turned into basically this mad sun god Nika guy. Big power, but drains man's energy rapid. Man's devil fruit is wavy. It starts as a paramecia, then goes Zoan when awakened. So now we know that he has a Zoan fruit. There's a lot of mysteries around these kind of fruits, and particularly a Rumble Ball and what it would do to Zoan fruit users. So a Rumble Ball is this drug that Chopper made to boost his own Zoan abilities. So what happens when we mix up these two mad things, you know, Zoan fruit user plus Rumble Ball? Here's a list of like possible outcomes that could happen if Gear 5 Luffy was to use a Rumble Ball from Chopper, the best doctor in the world. So number 1, it will give Luffy a power boost, which is just your standard reason why people take the Rumble Ball. Like, it will gas Luffy up. In Gear 5, a short burst of even more power than already what he has. Number 2, it could actually just be fatal and an unpredictable reaction. Since the Rumble Ball is designed for Chopper, or his specific Zoan type Devil Fruit, it might have unpredictable or adverse effects on Luffy, so we don't really know. Number 3 is that it'll put a significant physical and mental strain, both on, like, the Gear 5 will not only significantly drain Luffy, but the Rumble Ball as well puts a lot of stress on the user. Combining them could be, as I mentioned before, life-threatening. Number 4, somehow do some sort of awakening synergy. Like, given that Gear 5 is already in awakened form, the Rumble Ball could synergize with it, perhaps unlocking even more abilities or techniques, like temporarily. And because it's like a little bit of like Toon Force, we don't know what could happen. Number 5 thing that could possibly happen is that he could experience a behavioral change, kind of like how Gear 5 already influences Luffy's mental state, making him more happy and joyful, like Joy Boy, right? Adding a Rumble Ball into the mix could be like his alter ego, or like, you know how Hulk has like an evil dark side? Perhaps it could bring out this evil Gear 5, like the opposite of Joy Boy, like Sad Boy or Depression, or I don't know, like Killer Boy or something. And then number 6 is that he might not be able to control his powers and just become like Broly and just kill everything. Since Gear 5 is potent and affects Luffy's mental capacity, adding a Rumble Ball may make it harder for him to control himself. And at number 7, it may just have no effect. It's possible that the Rumble Ball might just do nothing. Now, this is the most important statement, is that it was released in the manga that it said the power of imagination is something that Luffy is now capable of. The other thing is that Oda also said Tom and Jerry were a huge inspiration for Luffy, as well as Looney Tunes. So here are some abilities that Tom and Jerry characters can use. They are invincible. Like, there's many fatal situations that they shouldn't have survived, but did. Like falling off buildings, explosions, heavy objects falling on them. They're basically invincible. Like, that's the typical Toon Force trait. They also have super strength. Like, Tom occasionally displays remarkable strength, like lifting heavy objects beyond his or a regular animal's capacity. They also have super speed. Like, Jerry has shown instances of running at incredibly high speeds to escape from Tom. So these are just some of the things that could potentially, you know, with the incorporation of Toon Force type abilities, as we go further into the series and as Luffy gets more confident with Gear 5, he might unlock some of these super speed, super strength, invincibility type powers. Moving into the Looney Tunes sides of things, this is where we see things like Toon Force. Like, characters like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck have a form of Toon Force which allows them to do anything that like a joke requires, such as if there's a joke, then they'll survive fatal injuries because it's part of the joke. Like, it's funny to see, like, for example, Bugs Bunny get smashed with a hammer, like, and then live, you know, like, that's the joke. So Luffy has been said to bring joy to all, and one way that he could do that is by being a running gag, like Saitama, you know, being able to one-punch everyone. So another thing that Bugs Bunny is able to do is reality warping, which is erasing characters with a pencil, like literally. He can just use the rubber end, and in one instance even pause his own cartoon to interact with the audience. So we might even see some Luffy reality warping or breaking the fourth wall type stuff. In some instances, Bugs Bunny has even used time manipulation. Like he altered the flow of time for fun, like comedic effect. So another thing. Dimensional travel is another thing that Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck have traveled between different stories or even into the real world. In movies like Space Jam and Looney Tunes Back in Action, they interacted with real people. Another thing is that they seem to have infinite resources. Like, so Luffy might be able to, like, you know, how he just pulled goggles out of his hair. Like, you just, you know, infinitely pull out stuff. And then, as I mentioned before, one of the other things that are also in Looney Tunes is super speed. We've got like Roadrunner, like me, like he just runs really fast, right? And then we've also got Marvin the Martian from Looney Tunes, who possesses just ridiculous technology that blows up planets. So we could easily see with this addition of Toon Force, planetary dimensional travel, reality warping stuff, if Oda decides to explore it a little bit. So in conclusion, mixing Gear 5 and a Rumble Ball is just pure madness. Like, we have no clue what would happen. Yeah, like, there's just so many different possibilities of what could possibly happen if Luffy took, and in Gear 5, a Rumble Ball. So what's your take? Hit me up in the comments. If you want to see more of these kind of theories, mad content, please like, subscribe, and share. Catch you a lot later. Peace!